And we're live.
As I was fixing my hat. Hey, all right. It's a Feel Good Friday. How you doing? I'm Paul Sullivan. In the studio with me, as you can see, to my left and to my right, it's just me. But hey, that's all right. But actually in the studio behind the scenes, Smith doing a good job over there already this morning. I'm always putting him to the test, giving him these last minute. Hey, can you switch this? Can you change this? Can you add this? Doing this kind of thing. So he's always on the fly doing doing the best that he possibly can. So Smith, how are you this Friday morning?
I'm doing pretty well.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, can't complain.
Can't complain. Well, good, because I wasn't going to listen anyway. So, see, I wasn't listening anyway. I just asked the question. I was moving on. I was like, yeah, whatever. Just throwing it out there. I'm good.
Classic Paul.
My Chicago Cubs, as you can see, another Chicago Cubs shirt. This is my Anthony Rizzo shirt, who was the first baseman for the Chicago Cubs. They are in first place still, even after losing 3 out of 4 to the Mets. They're still in first place in their division. So that's a good sign. So I had a big week. Brenda and I, my girlfriend Brenda and I, we went to North Carolina last week. Remember, I didn't do the show because we had the wedding. I'll call her my daughter-in-law, Laurel, and Shane got married. They got married on the beach, and I've said it many times. I'm not really a beach guy. It was a beautiful wedding. I have to say, but I'm not really a beach guy. I'm whitest man in America type of thing. So I don't really tan. I go from white to red, and then back, from red to white. So I'm just, put in the cubby blue. I'm all American, red, white, and blue. But anyway, okay. So we went to the wedding, and it was a haul. I got to tell you, Smith, it was a haul. 10 hours, 10 hours door to door. We drove to the hotel, got checked in, and it was just a lot of travel and moving around. We got there Thursday. We did the rehearsal on Friday. We had the wedding on Saturday, and it was a lot of back and forth. We were taking stuff because we're part of the family, so we were doing decorating, and we were working basically. Yeah. So I was working at the wedding, but not getting paid. That's what it was about. But no, actually, congratulations again to Shane and Laurel. A beautiful wedding. And by the way, boy, did we luck out. I told them, I said, if you guys have the luck that you had today in your marriage, you're going to have a long, happy marriage, because it was like 90% chance of rain. And it was supposed to be on the beach, so it was like, it's outdoors. They were looking, going, all right, well, what do we do if it doesn't rain? If it rains, what do we do? So they had a sort of a backup plan. It was still outside, but there was like a tent off to the side of the beach. So they still could head outside, but can you imagine, being on the beach and it just flooding rain? It would not be pretty, and sand gets all smushy and, that type of thing. But so what they did was they moved their wedding up an hour, just 1 hour. And I was like, I'll admit it. I didn't tell Laurel this, but she'll find out when she sees the podcast. I said to Brenda, I'm like, they're moving it up 1 hour. Well, that's just dumb. So I said it, and I'm like, that's just dumb. Now everybody's got to readjust, get there on time, everything 1 hour. But I got to say, they made the right move, because God was looking down on them. When it was gray, it was kind of dark on the beach, right at like 5 to 4. Laurel's freaking out, thinking it's going to, pour rain. But it held off. And I won't say it cleared up. It didn't really clear up. There was kind of a gray cloud over the beach the whole time. But it didn't rain. So we had the wedding. It was pretty short. The minister did a very good job at speaking about as quickly as I do. And he was trying to get through it so they didn't get rained on. But some beautiful pictures. You can go to my Facebook page. There's a few on there. And it's just really cool. So again, congratulations to Shane and Laurel, and pulled off the wedding without any rain. So that was a good thing. So then yesterday, by the way, after the wedding, we took the grandkids. I got Landon and Dane with Brenda and I. They're staying with us for the week. Now I've been working, so Smith, I kind of got a reprieve, because I got to come in the office, kind of get away, if you will. Where Brenda had the quote unquote week off, and I say week off because she had a week off of her job at work, but she's working at home, believe me. But the fun thing about being a grandparent is, you can have all the fun stuff. You don't really have to do like the disciplinary stuff, really. If they get like way out of hand, but you can have a lot more fun as a grandparent than you can as a parent. So yesterday we went to the Florida Caverns State Park in Marietta, Florida. And by the way, have you ever been, Smith?
I have not.
Do you even know what it is?
Nope.
Okay. I'll be honest. Neither did I. I didn't know what it was till like 3 days ago. Brenda picked this. It's a state park down in Marianna, Florida, and it's actually they have these underground caverns and like caves kind of a thing down in the ground. So we went down there, and again, you can go to my Facebook page. I posted a bunch of pictures this morning, but had a lot of cool stuff going down in there, and it was just really unique. I mean, it was very cool. They had a lot of like little pathways, and by the way, if you've never been, and again, I hadn't been, it's nice and cool in there. So that was very nice. As Smith's trying to pull up the photos. There was a lot that was very nice and cool. So it was really hot up above ground, because you're in Florida, and I mean, it's hot here in South Georgia too. But when we went down in the caves, or the caverns, whatever you want to call it. And you can see Smith's trying to pull up some photos behind me.
That's cool.
You can see that there, the water kind of forms and it trickles and, drips and all this kind of stuff, but it was really neat because it was nice and cool. I don't know what the temperature was, but I'm sure it was probably below, I don't know, I'd say below 70. It was probably in the 60s. It wasn't like
Nice.
cold. It was just nice and cool, and so we really enjoyed that. And that brought up the point of road tripping with children. Road tripping with children. Now, Smith, have you ever had to make a road trip with a child?
Yes, unfortunately.
So, how was your experience on a scale of 1 to 10 with the child in the car?
I suggest bring headphones.
For you or the child?
Probably both, now that you mention it.
Well, I was driving, so I couldn't really do the headphone thing while I was driving. But boy, I tell you what, now this isn't my first road trip with children. I mean, I've had some other road trips with children, but it's been a while. I'll say, it's been a while since I've had a road trip. And by the way, this was a day trip. This was in one day. When we drove to Florida yesterday, drove down to Florida to Marianna, did the park, and then drove home. So this was a 1-day trip. So a couple of tips for you. Good Lord, make sure you have an adapter to the iPad, the charger thing, where they can plug it in. Wow, man, I'm telling you, if I did not have the iPad charger, I don't know what I would have done.
I'm amazed at how fast they can kill the battery.
It's amazing. Plus, apparently, Landon is he's my 7-year-old grandson, and there they are acting goofy. I'll get out of the way here. So you see him kind of. There's Landon, the little one. He's doing his little face like this, and then Dane is the bigger one. And so Landon's 7, Dane is 16 or 17. I'm getting old. I forgot. So, but he's a teenager. So Landon, apparently you're hearing, I don't know what the deal is, but apparently, I don't know what age you actually get like very good hearing. Because apparently when you're 7, you don't understand how loud something can be. So he's got his iPad. He's playing this, I don't know, some game. And all the kids' games have all that like cartoony kind of music, lots of sound effects, lots of, boings and oinks and, this and that and the other, and, and pows and bams and all this kind of thing. So I'm trying to play the radio, and believe me, I did not have the radio up loud when I'm in the car by myself. Now I know every person's car stereo is different. So I'll just kind of put this into perspective. When I'm in the car by myself, really, when I'm in the car with Brenda, I would say 8 or 9, because like the stereo goes up like 50, I mean, it goes way up, at least mine does. So, 8 or 9 when I'm in the car with Brenda, 8 or 9, that's a suitable, you can still talk over it. You can still hear it. So 8 or 9. So when I'm in the car with myself, it's like 24, it's like 24, 25. It's like halfway up, and that's loud in my car. So yesterday, 7, I had the stereo on 7. Okay. So again, a notch below 8 or 9 where I normally put it with Brenda and I in the car. Dude, I could barely hear the radio. Just bang, 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 boom, 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 pow, pow, pow. All the little sound effects going on from the iPad. So, I'm like, hey, Landon, hey, could you turn that down, buddy? That's how you start.
Oh, and they always tell you that you're listening to bad music. That's what my nephew does anyway. This music's better.
Well, I don't think he could hear my music because of the iPad. Now Dane was smart. He brought headphones. So he was listening to whatever music he wanted to listen to in his headphones, so he couldn't hear any of it. So he was nice and calm and cool, enjoying the road trip apparently. And also he can sleep anywhere, including the car. You can be like, hey, we're going to be there in 40 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take a nap. Great. He'll do that. But so Landon just had it, blaring him, and he was having a grand old time though, having all kinds of fun. And I was driving. So Brenda is much shorter than me. So Dane, who, as you can see, is much taller than Landon. So Dane sat behind Brenda and I had Landon behind me. And he's got the little, that little booster seat thing, the car seat, which means when he sits like this, okay, or I'm going to do it sideways. All right. So when he sits like this, these are his legs, if you can see it. Now they can't touch the ground. So what he does is he does this, kind of swings his legs a lot, and then he also does this, puts his feet up against my seat, and pushes, so you get that kick thing, you're driving, so again, started off, hey, Landon, buddy, could you maybe not kick the seat? How about that? Oh, sorry. That's how it started. 3, 4. Hey, Landon, could you maybe, come on, buddy, pay attention. Stop kicking the seat. By the 5th one, I got a little mean. Landon. It's one of those. Stop kicking the seat. So, I was starting to lose my temper a little bit, or my patience is what I should say. Never really lost my temper, just lost my patience. But so a few, road trip survival tips, if you will. Definitely make sure you have an iPad adapter, charger, whatever you want to call it. Smith's bring headphones for the children. That would have been a great thing. I didn't think of that. So, and he has them too. He has headphones, but I didn't think to bring them. So yes, that's a good tip. By the way, Felipe, one of our Billy Merritt marketing ninjas, he just messaged in. My daughter and nephew are not meant for road trips because they get car sick. Little Phil would cruise across state lines like a champ, though. And speaking of car sick, yep, Dane got car sick. So I had all the little tidbits of everything going in. It was just a lot of, we brought snacks, we brought a cooler, tried to do all the stuff. Well, we stop at the gas station, right? Can we get a snack? Sure. Open up the back. No, in the store. You guys don't have the snack that I want. That's Landon. I want the little, and Smith, you'll love this because you eat these all the time. He said, I want one of those steaks. And I said, one of those steaks? Okay, so he said he wanted a steak. And I'm going, you want a steak? What in the world? And he's like, it's like a steak stick. I'm like, aha, he meant a Slim Jim.
Oh, yeah.
So he wanted a steak stick is what he called it. But Smith eats those like daily.
Yeah, that's true.
How many are you up to a day?
Well, I've gotten down a little bit. I've been trying to lean more towards pork rinds lately just because they're cheaper. they're cheaper. I mean, that's the honest truth.
When you want dietary tips, you talk to Smith. He lives on Slim Jims and pork rinds.
Dude, I love those bags of Diamond beef jerky, but it's like $6 and it's gone in half a day.
Yeah, I gotta say the beef jerky doesn't last very long around me either. I see Smith. I don't know how he's still alive, to be honest. he lives on. They're not Monster drinks. It's like a Monster. What are they called?
C4.
C4. Yeah, he drinks C4. Not like the actual explosive. It's a drink. So he drinks C4 and he eats Slim Jims and pork rinds. That's his dietary. And you make some rice once in a while too. You said. Yeah.
Every once in a while.
So, he does a little bit of culinary stuff at home.
I've been eating a lot of ramen lately since I discovered. Oh no, I'm telling you, these Nissin cup ramens.
I gotta open this beer. Go ahead.
Instead of, you want me to go ahead and pull up?
No, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
instead of these like 30-cent packs like the Ramuchan or Maruchan that you get at Walmart, you can get these $2. Either the cup ones, the Nissin cups, they have curry ramen flavor, they have seafood flavor, hot garlic, chicken teriyaki, and they actually have like little meat chunks and egg pieces.
You make it sound like it's all gourmet.
Well, it's a lot higher quality than, grabbing a 30-cent bag. Well, there are also these Nissin, I believe it's Nissin Rau. I never know how to say that properly, but King of ramen packs.
That's all right. I wouldn't be able to correct you anyway.
These are also about $2 a piece. And it's nothing but noodles and the broth, but it knocks the rest of the stuff totally out of the park. The broth is just silky smooth. Like something you'd get out of a restaurant, honestly.
See, there's another culinary tip. We're gonna have to do like the weekly culinary tip from Smith.
Well, yeah. you still want to crack an egg in it, no doubt about that.
Oh, just in case, you always want to crack an egg in whatever you're eating. That always helps. Well, it's all right. So I had Smith pull up the beer of the week, and so I kind of wanted to segue into this. That the road tripping. All right, so we get home at like I think it was 8:30, something like that. No, we left really early. I don't mean like 5 a.m., but we left at probably, I think it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're gone for like 12 and a half hours, for our day trip, to the Florida caverns, which again, we did have a lot of fun. But it was just, I didn't realize how kind of taxing it is. There's a lot of stress, you can't really relax. You're driving, there's traffic, and I got cut off 3 or 4 times. Man, I was so close to using some 4-letter words too. And I don't mean love. There were a few of them that almost flew out, but I was good. I paid attention, watched my mouth around the grandchildren. So when I got home, it was like first thing I did. I didn't even help unload the car yet. I got home, opened the door because I had the keys to the house. So I go in, I carry one thing, open the door, go straight to the refrigerator, get a beer. It's like, all right, I'm ready to relax now. So the beer of the week for this week, and this is such an unusual one. And so again, I bought one. It was in like the individual, like where you could make your own 6-pack when I was in North Carolina. So I bought one and I drank it last night. So I'm actually drinking Porch Rocker right now. So I drank this last night, but it's Spencer's Monk's Reserve Ale. And it's very unusual. It's literally made by monks. I think it's spencerbrewing.com, if I remember right, is the website, but you can search Spencer's Monk's Reserve Ale. But it's a Trappist quadruple, which means it's very kind of heavy and dark and thick. But man, was it good. Look at there. The Smith's got like all kinds of bottles. They're just making it, all kinds of bottles rolling. But it's very full, kind of a full bodied. It's a heavier beer now. Like I said, I don't want to fool anybody. But it's got like that warm finish when you drink it. It's really good. It was very good, but I do want to warn you to be careful, because the Spencer's Monk's Reserve Ale is 10.2% alcohol by volume. 10.2. So like this little, I'm at the beach, Porch Rocker here is 4.5. So you see what I mean? It's got more than twice the alcohol content in that. So be careful if you're drinking that, because it'll sneak up on you. But it's actually a very good beer. Now I wouldn't advise that you bring that to the pool, if you're on the beach or fishing or anything like that. But man, when you just want to like go home and have one beer and just relax after a day of road tripping, with the grandkids, man, that was the good stuff right there. So check that out. Spencer's Monk's Reserve Ale.
I gotta say, the packaging is beautiful for all of them.
It really is. They do a really good job, and like I said, it is actually made by monks. That's why it's much more expensive now. It comes in a 4-pack, I believe it is, and it's much more expensive. I bought the one bottle at the liquor store, package store, whatever you want to call it, and it was $4.50. Now that's at the package store.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a lot. When you're buying one beer. So $4.50 for one, and I think it was like $16 for the 4-pack or something like that. So
I guess you're getting like 2.5 times the usual.
Yeah, it really is. And when you're drinking one of those, it's for sure it's 2. So as far as alcohol content, it's twice as much. So, but again, it's really good. So it'd be one of those where like you have the fire going behind me. I always forget where to point. I just got the fire burning behind me. It really would be good if it was like a chilly night, by the fireplace, something like that. And I realize, the end of June or middle of June is not exactly, sitting by the fire night. Weather, but it really is. It's a good one. So check that out. Hey, some of our comments. Good morning to my mom, Mary Sullivan Moore, and Robert Brooker. Jordan Peach just threw in a bunch of smileys. Good morning to you, Jordan. And I think I missed a couple, early. Were there some that were up there higher up? I can't see them.
No, I think that's it. Barb, no? Felipe. Okay,
I didn't say Barb. Was that my great niece Mackenzie? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Mackenzie says good morning. So that is my great niece, and she is pretty great. But I really do mean like great niece. It's my nephew's daughter, so she's my great niece, along with her sister Zoe. So hello to them as well. Jordan Peach, by the way, I think he had an anniversary recently. I think it was Jordan. You can remind me. It was either a birthday or an anniversary or whatever. So I'll just say happy Friday, to Jordan, and cheers, to you. By the way, the road trip also something that you want to do. Now again, we brought snacks. Now I'll take the fall for this. Brenda did all the packing, all of it. I didn't do one bit of it. She packed the drinks. She packed the snacks. She packed the cooler. She got the ice. I mean, I was just like a lame duck, when it came to, preparing for the road trip. All I did was get gas. That's what I did. I went and got gas in the car, and that was my part, apparently. But I will give you a little tip here, Smith, in case you have to do this again with small children.
Please.
Well, actually, I'll ask you the question first, and then I'll give you the tip. Okay. All right. So you've got some children that, and more than one. All right. So you can't just do like one. You got, more than one child. So, multiples are going to be in the car. Do you get more than one kind of snack?
I'm guessing no, because they're going to fight over what they want more.
Dead on. He hit it right there. Dead on. All right. So yeah. So we bought the little, I say we again, Brenda went and got the little, like the little Frito-Lay, like the little pack, like the little tiny snack bags, the variety pack or whatever. Yes. Well, good Lord, there were only 2 Cheetos in there or something like that. And everybody wanted Cheetos. And so it's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, I highly recommend just bring one kind of snack. Because if they don't like it, then they'll definitely say, yeah. They'll be like, well, I guess I'm eating that or I'm eating nothing. So right. I highly recommend that you bring just one kind of snack. And by the way, I would definitely not recommend that one snack be Cheetos. You know why?
Messy.
Yeah. Orange fingers. Where do they go? All over the car seat, all over the seat, all over the door, all over the window when you're 7. So we had plenty of fun. And my sister Barb says she gets at least 3 chocolate bars. Well, you better keep them cool because in South Georgia those things melt. So you better keep them cool, or like either put them in the cooler or eat them really, really fast. So by the way, I say my sister-in-law. I'm not really married to Brenda, but I've been with her for a long time, so I feel like I am. Karen Whitaker Gould. She said, "Did you unload the mirror?" Of course, we unloaded the mirror.
No, she said you did unload the mirror.
Yeah. Oh, I thought she was asking. I misread
you said
that.
you didn't unload anything before.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't load. Okay, yeah. So I didn't unload when we got home until I got a beer. So yeah, I did. We took a mirror, a big mirror that that we have. They wanted to use it for a wedding. So and I don't know. I think it's like it's like 3 by 4 feet or something like that, or 3 by 5 feet. I don't know. It's big. It's a big mirror. But we had to take that and drop it off to Karen's. So here's the thing: we had to put I drove my Honda CRV. So we had to put the mirror like behind the front seats, like on the floorboard, basically, in between, in between the people who were sitting in the back seat and the back of the front seats. You with me so far, Smith?
Yeah, okay. I got you so far.
All right. So now for Landon, who is again 7 in a car seat and his feet don't touch the ground, that was, wasn't really too much of a big deal. For Dane, who is, I don't know, he's probably 5'8", 5'10", something like that. Oh yeah, a little bit different story, because there was like, I don't know, I'm going to try to measure this here. There might've been that much leg room, and his legs are this wide. So this much leg room, the legs are this wide. So he had a little bit of difficulty, kind of had to turn and twist and do all that. So, but he was a trooper. He held up pretty well. My sister Barb also said that Mackenzie, this is Mackenzie. So Mackenzie is, she's actually commenting under my sister Barb's Facebook. Aha. Okay, I see. This is Mackenzie, and I don't let the chocolate sit long enough to melt. That's probably like what most children would say. Most children would do that. Something else that we did, and Brenda, again, I have to give credit to Brenda. Brenda brought cookies. All right, now chocolate chip cookies, just store-bought, store-bought chocolate chip cookies. But as I was mentioning about the chocolate melting. So what's probably something that you shouldn't do there, Smith? If you got chocolate chip cookies, where should you not put them?
Like up on the, what you call it? Like the
dash.
Yes, the dash.
In the direct sunlight. Yeah, in the direct sunlight, because that just turns into a big old mess. So I probably would have done, I wouldn't have put him on the dash. But I would have put him in the back, like just sitting out, so they would have got all mushy and melty. But Brenda, she was smart enough to put him in a Ziploc bag and put him in the cooler. So nice. She's pretty witty when it comes to that kind of thing. So, but yeah, she got a whole bunch of different snacks. And for the most part, again, we had fun. I mean, I'm playing it up a little bit. I will not say that it was not stressful. I don't know what it is. I mean, whether you're with children or you're with somebody else in the car, you ever notice how tempers get a little flared when you're inside the car? You ever notice that?
Yeah, at least to me. I mean, maybe this is just my antisocial speaking, but it's fun, but it's a little exhausting. That's how I would describe it.
That is I would go with that. It's exhausting. I said mentally taxing. It's physically exhausting.
Exactly.
It's exhausting. Again, we had a lot of fun, but yeah, it was exhausting. So I slept like a baby last night. I drank that 10.2 alcohol by volume beer, and man, I was down for the count by like 5 after 10 after that long trip. But hey, in all seriousness, I do recommend the Florida Caverns State Park. It's in Marianna, Florida. You can check that out. It's pretty cool. I mean, it really is. It's really neat. And I never thought I was that tall. I mean, I'm 5'8", so I'm not a tall guy. Never thought I was that tall until I went in the caverns. And then even I'm having to like bend over and duck, and and Dane hit his head, I think twice, on the caverns, whatever you want to call them. But it really was kind of cool. So again, check that out, Florida Caverns State Park. And it was like $5 for the kids. That's Smith throwing stuff. He's like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of it. I've had enough. Now he's throwing stuff behind the scenes. But it's like $5 for kids and $10 for adults. So I mean, it was well worth the money. It was really interesting. And something unique. The kids, I will say, Landon at 7, he got a little bit bored because, I mean, it's like a 45-minute tour. Like you're down in the caverns, for like 45 minutes because they actually walk you into different like areas where you can stand up straight. And then, you can look around and they kind of explain stuff, the history of the caverns and things like that. So, like I said, it's about a 45-minute tour. But it was really cool. So, I mean, I would recommend it. If you got some kids, maybe, keep them up all night so they'll sleep all the way in the car.
You got to feed them KFC.
Yeah. Is that what you do? KFC?
Yes.
Is that the stuff that makes you drowsy?
It'll put them right out.
Well, we went, and that's the other thing too. When you got small kids, you can't eat anywhere nice. I mean, because you know what they want to eat? What's a 7-year-old want to eat all the time?
Burger King.
Yeah, Burger King and chicken nuggets. That's all they want. Burgers and chicken nuggets. I mean, maybe a hot dog once in a while, you can stretch them, but you really can't, get them to move over to, they're certainly not eating cuisine, the high class cuisine that you make, right. Smith. They're just not. But Landon's actually a very good eater. Dane he's the one that won't eat anything. That kid's like the piggiest eater I've ever seen. I'm telling you. And by the way, there's my other niece, Zoe. She wants McDonald's all the time, spoken like a true child. I mean, it was the same. Robert Brooker said when he was 15, his uncle took him to Mammoth Cave, and that was cool. Where's Mammoth Cave at, Robert? Is that down in Florida too, or is that in another part of the country? Because I have to admit, I did not think, of Florida. I didn't think of caverns down in Florida. I just didn't. I don't know why. When I think of caverns and caves, I think of mountains. I mean, it's the first thing that pops in my head. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And Robert said, I'll have the escargot, please. And, in Kentucky. Okay. So Robert, he went to, where was it? Mammoth Cave. Yeah. Yes. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. So you can check some of those out. I'm sure you can Google them. There's plenty of them around. There was an older couple, that were right in front of us. And I mean, you're not trying to listen to them, but I mean, you're right there in the space, and they were talking. And they had obviously went to several of them. They were comparing the one we went to yesterday to some of the ones that they went to before, and how much different this one was, and all this kind of thing. So it really is cool. Felipe, Little Phil says he's wanting hungry howies. Yeah, that pizza. That's a pretty that's pretty much a given. In fact, we had pizza the night before. We ordered pizza the night before we went to the cavern. So it's just a thing. But music selection. So if you get a chance to choose the music in the car when you've got children, if you get the chance, and I notice I said if you get the chance to choose the music selection. Now, I'm a rocker. I've said it for a long time. I like rock music. I mean, I like lots of different types of music, but I'm a rocker at heart. So of course, if it were up to me, I mean, I would have put on a rock station. But, there's some words and things, that they say. And so, you got the 7-year-old in the car. So I'm trying to be polite and be nice. So I find, this classic hits kind of station, and the classic hits format, by the way, they took what used to be classic rock and they made it softer. Okay. So it's not soft. It's not like an adult contemporary station. It doesn't play all mellow stuff, but it's not a rock station either. So they tried to kind of combine the two. So like about every, I don't know, 5th song, like, hey, cool. But, about every 5th song, like they played Barracuda, from Heart. That's a good song. They played LaGrange from ZZ Top, so that was kind of cool. But then they always throw in some of that crap, like just like that bubblegummy 70s, you know, it was, I can't, Do You Believe in Magic? That was the name. My sister Barb, I'm telling you, she knows this song. Do You Believe in Magic by the band The Lovin' Spoonful. Oh, it's god awful. It's god awful. I think it was like from 1970 or something like that. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible song. But I know somebody out there likes it because they played it on the station. So, so again, the music. See, there's my sister Barb going, hey, 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 hey. You know, it sounds just like her too. But there was some of the music, you know, that was just garbage. I mean, I was just like, oh God, when is this song going to be over? But then, like I said, there were some other songs that were good. But one of the interesting things about this particular station was that when Dane, the teenager, when he took his headphones off for a while, playing the radio station, and Billy Joel, the Piano Man, the song Piano Man, it comes on, and all of a sudden Dane starts singing like along to the words. And by the way, and like a typical teenager, because they don't buy anything. They just pull stuff up online. They don't listen, or they don't know anything about it. And so he's singing along, he's singing the words, and he goes, "What's this song called?" So he can sing the words to it, but he didn't know what it was called, even though they say the words Piano Man, like, I don't know, 100 times, you know, in the song. But so I told him it was Billy Joel, Piano Man. And he's like, I like this song. This is a good song. So kind of reminded me. So this week, our classic rock revisit, 1973, Billy Joel's album, Piano Man. Now, you know, you could always say, I mean, look at the cover. Can you see the cover in the corner here? I was going
other way.
Yeah. Can you see this cover? Now, you're not exactly selling records off the cover here. I mean, now this is like a horror movie, you know, a poster or something like that. That's actually Billy Joel in 1973, kind of the silhouette or whatever. But Billy was definitely never a looker. And in this picture, absolutely not a looker. But what an album, and what a great artist. Billy Joel, his music still stands the test of time. And in 1973, when Piano Man came out, I mean, there's Worst Comes to First is on there. The single Captain Jack is a great one. And Deep Cut Ballad of Billy the Kid is really good on there too. But it's a solid album, and really the one that kind of, you know, made him who he was, or gave him the start, you know, of who he was today. Smith's got, is that you with the phone?
Somebody else.
Oh, that's somebody in the background. Hey, turn your volume down, people. We're trying to do a show in here. Come on. Robert Brooker, I remember how perceptions shifted enough that all the rock songs became adult contemporary. It did. I don't know when it happened, but yeah, it did. Because I mean, when Barracuda came out from Heart, that was like a hard rock song. I mean, when it came out in the 70s, it was like, man, this is a jam. You know, this thing rocks. And now they play it on adult contemporary stations. I don't know what the deal is. So at some point, yeah, it did shift. And we're not talking about like Faithfully from Journey. I mean, like, that's an adult contemporary song, easy, the ballad. But I mean, there's a lot. Well, again, like ZZ Top, LaGrange. When it came out, it was kind of a bluesy rock tune.
Yeah. And
now they play it on classic hits, you know, so for the family, classic hits for the family. So go ahead, Smith.
I was just gonna say, I have been thinking about this lately. I guess there's a pretty big evolution of like what we think of as metal and heavy metal now. I mean, I thought for a while there, I guess when I was younger, that like maybe 90s was really where that started, like with stuff like Pantera and some of Metallica's other stuff. But what was Black Sabbath? You see, when was their first?
Black Sabbath was like in the late 60s.
Late 60s, yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, and that's kind of when, you know, quote unquote, you know, heavy metal, you know, when the term, you know, they started using that kind of a term.
That's changed a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, when you mentioned Metallica, now I realize Metallica's, I think it was just simply titled Metallica. I used it as the classic rock revisit, I don't know, a couple months ago, the one with Enter Sandman. But Metallica's earlier stuff was much harder, much heavier. It was more like speed metal or thrash metal. Yeah. And where that album really went mainstream, a lot of people, you know, a lot of their quote unquote true fans said they sold out and did all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at it going, you know, they may have sold out, but they made a ton of money off of that. They made a ton of money off of that. Robert Brooker throws in the comment, I Am Iron Man. That's such a great song. It really is. That's such a great tune. I don't know if that's children worthy. They probably scare the crap out of them, but it's a great song. But actually it was kind of fun to hear some of the different music, because you know, some of the music that has transcended when you play a station like that and you have children in the car, you know, because that, you know, the kids recognize it. Now I realize some of it is from movies and video games and, things like that. So they pick up on it. I mean, I remember this was several years ago. Dane was much younger, and I was still working at the rock station, and I played AC/DC Back in Black. He was in the studio with me, and I played AC/DC Back in Black, the song, and he's like, "Oh, the Iron Man song." Because they used it in Iron Man, in the movie Iron Man.
Right.
So that's what he knew it as, the Iron Man song, the Iron Man song, the movie, the Iron Man song. So he knew it from there. And there's lots of other, Queen has a lot of songs, Bohemian Rhapsody from Wayne's World, and there's a lot of songs that are on movie soundtracks where people really start to, the kids at least start to recognize some of those songs from movies and video games and things like that. But there were a few songs like again, Queen came on. And it wasn't Bohemian Rhapsody either. It was, oh shoot, now I can't remember which song it was. The Queen. You're My Best Friend. That one came on, and he knew that one. And so there was a few other tunes that I was kind of surprised, that he was listening to. But I will say, and I don't know when the age that shifts. Maybe you can clue me in on this a little bit, Smith, with your, with how it was for you. Do you remember the age when you went from like listening to kind of bubblegummy, I guess, bubblegum type music, and then, venturing into new avenues, whether it be, rock, or I know you're into a lot of the much more unique music, but do you remember the age when that happened for you?
I want to say between like 12 and 14, maybe, but that's around the same time that I started playing guitar. And that's when I really started to get into, like, speaking of this comment, when I started to get into stuff like Bon Jovi and Bryan Adams and obviously Queen and stuff like that, because I was learning all those like famous guitar solos. But I guess around 16 or 17, I think that's when I discovered like All That Remains, and more of the actual metal stuff. Like what was at the time, present tense heavy metal, deathcore and stuff like that.
Now let me ask you. Now I've asked this before, but I'm gonna ask you again. How old are you again?
I am 28.
All right. So at 28. So this would have been when you were 16, 17, we're looking at 12 years ago, right in there. So, 11, 12 years ago. So how did you, at that time, how did you discover new music?
I discovered the metal when I was actually hanging out with this metalhead who I met in high school.
Oh, bad influence. That's the parent. I mean, that's the parent talking. Bad influence.
I finally met that person who was like good at guitar, good enough I wanted to jam with them, and they were a huge metalhead. They got me into All That Remains, All Shall Perish, like Veil of Maya, a lot of heavier thrashy stuff too. But it was the melodic, like metalcore stuff that really stood out to me. As far as when I was like 12. Getting into a lot of the 80s music, that was definitely my parents, to be honest. And I know this will sound crazy, but it was the road trips for me. Like, it was listening to these like road trip ballads and stuff like that. I think of a lot of the 80s music as good road trip music. And the same thing with a lot of the retro wave, synth wave type music. I just, to me, driving with that just in the pocket thumping, doom, 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 just that standard beat. There's just something about that pumps, I guess.
By the way, Smith, we have got to get a camera on you. I swear.
to watch me do all this.
You're missing out, folks. I mean, he's over here he's doing all the air drums and making the sound effects while he's doing the air drums. I mean, you got to see that stuff. That's the fun stuff.
It's funny. Back when we were writing music, like on Guitar Pro and all this, and I would have people around who are in the same bands as me, and I would get a drum idea. This is always how I would like show them the idea before I played it or wrote it down. Like, I had a guitar riff idea. That's what it's gonna sound like, man. You're gonna love it.
And they can't see your facial expression either when he was doing the guitar riff. We got to get that on camera. We got to get you a camera. I'm telling you. Robert Brooker mentions System of a Down. Now, when they came out, they were metal.
Oh yeah.
He said this is metal-ish now. So maybe that's metal-ish now, but they were metal when they came out. I mean, they did.
It's also very weird music, like theory-wise.
Yeah.
They use a lot of weird chords.
Yeah. It's really right up your alley then.
Oh yeah.
It's weird music. That's
interesting.
That's what I'm gonna start using. Smith listens to weird music.
I do.
That's what I'm gonna say. Off the mainstream, off center, a little bit dark in some ways, a little bit different in others. He's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. Said that one just for my sister Barb. But actually, when I was younger, I've set it up before on the show, but in case anybody missed it, I actually discovered music. First of all, where I grew up, up in Illinois, we got WLS, which was a huge, radio station out of Chicago. And so, I grew up listening to major market radio, thinking that that's what everybody listened to, until I moved away and realized, no, that's not what everybody listens to. Most people listen to small market radio, which is it's completely different. But so I learned, a lot of music off the radio. But then also, and I've given credit to my sisters for this. Lots of influence. My oldest sister Barb, Janet, and Maggie, all of them older than me. All of them influenced me in different ways. I mean, Barb was much more. Barb's 10 years older than me, so hers was much more like Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, and like that late '60s, early '70s. That type of era, where she would buy the albums. They'd be sitting around, so of course I'd play them when she wasn't there. Of course, because I wasn't allowed. They were hers. So I learned some of that. And then my sister Janet, who was 4 years older than me, she got me into a little bit more of like the late 70s, early 80s music. Now you're talking, like Billy Squier, even Queen. Janet really got me started on Queen. The Who was actually more of my sister Barb's time frame, but The Who was still popular, still rolling. In the late 70s, early 80s. So I remember that was my first You Better You Bet, that song, You Better You Bet. That was the first 45, the actual 45 record that I bought was The Who. So a lot of different bands. Van Halen, my all-time favorite band, Van Halen. Got to give credit to my sister Janet. That was all her. I was like, what is this? Running with the Devil, that beginning where, that whole, I'm not going to try and do it. Smith might, he might do the face too. But really good stuff. So that's how I kind of discovered music, was a radio. And then my older sisters. Now, sadly, I'll use the word discover. Discovered some other music from my mom. My mom was a big country fan. So I learned or discovered quite a bit of country music from my mom. Now I will give her credit for this one though. The one that I really like, Johnny Cash. I do like The Man in Black, and that's some good stuff right there. I like Johnny Cash music, so that's pretty good stuff as far as country. But yeah, I learned the Statler Brothers and the Oak Ridge Boys and Charlie Pride, and there's a bunch of country, old country stuff that my mom used to listen to. In fact, we would wake up on Saturday mornings. My mom would just blare country music. We'd have to get up and do the chores, so you try to just do it as quickly as you could because you wanted to get out of the house. So you just hurry up and do it so you don't have to get tortured with no, I'm kidding. I love you, Mom. And there's my mom. She just posted, she just commented, still am country. Yeah, she is. She still likes country music. How I became a rocker, well, I don't know. Again, I'll give all the credit to my sisters. None of the credit to my mom for that, at least. Robert Brooker, the first album he bought was Rush, Caress of Steel. Good choice. Rush. Now, I will say Rush could be considered weird music.
Oh yeah, the rhythms are really weird.
They're a little. They got some long songs. They got some great jams, but at the same time, they crossed over into the mainstream too. So they're one of those bands that I guess kind of rode both sides of the line. Yeah. They have a lot of the weird fans like you. And then mainstream fans like normal people.
I'm just here for the drum parts.
That's right. I'm just playing around. Hey, a couple more quick tips for the road tripping survival tips with the children. Smith, I will tell you right now, I don't care how many you bring with you, you will never have enough napkins. You will never, ever have enough napkins in the car. So that means every time you stop, you grab napkins.
I bring napkins for myself. So,
I mean, every single time. We went to Burger King for lunch and I grabbed, I don't know, 5 or 6 napkins. Cause I'll do that sometime. I always have napkins in the car, just in case, if there's like a slight spill, or something like that, so I grabbed like 5 or 6 and Brenda said, she's like, did you get napkins? And I said, yeah, and I even held them up, I got like this little, it's a small wad, but it was a wad of napkins, and I said, yeah, I got them right here. And she goes, is that all you're getting? Well, yeah. She's like, you probably want to grab more. And once again, Brenda was right and I was wrong. So you definitely need, because we had those, like those short little sodas, like the short ones. I don't know, they're like 10 ounces or 12 ounces, or whatever, the little plastic ones. Brenda purposely, again, giving Brenda lots of credit, because I wouldn't have thought about this. I would have bought the cans like I normally do, cans of soda. But Brenda buys the little tiny short bottles because they have the cap. See, they got the little cap on them. So when the kids are drinking them, take a drink, put the cap on, set it down. And then we'll take the cap off, take a drink, put the cap on, set it down. There's no spillage, right?
Right.
It's a really good plan. Only one problem. So we stop. This is our first stop. This was before we had lunch. And Landon, he wants, hey, can I have a Sprite? We don't give him caffeine. That's per Laurel, by the way. So you see, we were following the rules, Laurel. See, we're following the rules. No caffeine. So we give him Sprite. So we're in the car. He takes a drink. He puts the cap on, and then we take off. Okay. So we're back on the road. Well, it was like 3 minutes. Uh-oh. Words you don't want to hear. They're just words you do not want to hear when you're in the car with children. Uh-oh. Now, fortunately, I will say it wasn't like he tipped it. Like it wasn't just, falling over everywhere. But literally, it was like 2 minutes from when we took off. Uh-oh. What's going on? What happened? I dropped my cap. Of course you did. Of course you dropped the cap. And of course it's under the seat. So you can't get it. So the whole, with the cap on saves, the problems. But fortunately, he did not spill. So I'll give him credit. He didn't spill any drink. Well, that I know about. Because I'm sure if once he lost the cap, he probably was like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm not saying anything. If I spill it, I spill it. But there was plenty of Cheetos dust or whatever you want to call it everywhere. But no, we really did have a good time. But again, you can never have too much napkins. And another thing, I never, ever carry these. I would never think about carrying these in my car. But I'm telling you, when I had children in the car, I'm going to start carrying these in my car. You know what a wet nap is?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, the little, it's like it comes in the little square thing. You tear it open. It smells like alcohol. Yeah. you shake it out. It's like this big, in the packet. And then it unfolds, and then it's about this big. And it's what you can wipe their face or the car. You can wipe the car with that. Did not have a wet nap yesterday. And boy, did I wish I did. Because again, the Cheeto dust, it gets everywhere. It just gets everywhere. So I'll start to carry wet naps when I get those. Robert Brooker, I do know what those are. Apparently he knows what I'm talking about. Hey, Brady Roberts, one of our former ninjas, who's trying to make a living selling cars now. He's trying to make it with the big boys. So, hey, Brady, what's up, man? Appreciate you watching. Hoping that you're doing well at the Ford dealership that you're working for. And again, by the way, if you're a dealership, that's a nice little segue. So I'll give Brady the credit for that. If you're a car dealership, or somebody who works for a car dealership or who manages a car dealership, Billy Merritt Marketing, where we're at right now. We're here in the studios, Billy Merritt Marketing, doing the podcast. We do this Feel Good Friday podcast every week. Well, just about every week. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're off doing stuff. Most every Friday at 10 a.m. Central and 11 a.m. Eastern. But if you're a car dealership or you work at a car dealership and you want to sell more cars, because what do you need? I mean, what does every car dealership need, Smith?
Well, good communication with their customers.
Oh, you haven't been paying attention. He read the book a long time ago, but he's getting a little rusty. He's getting a little rusty. They need customers, dude. They need customers. Oh, yeah. Well, they gotta sell. If they want to make sales, they need customers, and that's what we do. We create a big offer on Facebook. We create an ad. We boost the ad so in your market, so that customers who are already on Facebook anyway, like all the people that are on right now, they're always checking their Facebook pages. So the ad pops up on their feed. It's a big offer. It gets their attention. They click on it, and then we start having conversations. Our texting ninjas is what we call ourselves. We do events all across the country. So it's not like it's a one little area. It's not a local thing. We do it nationally. We've done them in 48 of the 50 states, I believe. I know we have not been in Hawaii, and I cannot remember the other one. There's one other one that I can't remember, but Hawaii is one of them that we haven't been to. That we haven't done an event for. But if you're a dealership and you want to increase your sales, give us a call. You can comment on this podcast here, and I'll get back with you. You can look up Billy Merritt Marketing. Smith will tell you now. I'm going to set him up. He'll tell you like 19 other ways you can get a hold of us. Which ones are those, Smith?
Well, We're on YouTube. We are on YouTube, Instagram. Billy is on Twitter. We are on a couple of the audio platforms like SoundCloud, Podcast Addict, iTunes. I believe that's now, what is it? Apple Podcasts, I believe is what it is. There's an Amazon service. I really need to start pulling up a list beforehand. There's so many.
Actually, you know what? I'll give you a tip. Make the list like like a document or a picture or whatever. Right. So make that list, and then we can just put it in the comments.
Yes.
Every week we can just go, hey, you find us on all these other places, and that way you can have this in front of you. You can read off of it, and then you can post that as well. So if other folks want to know different ways that they can find us. My sister Barb asked, was it Alaska? No, we have done an event in Alaska. And in fact, a couple of them in Alaska.
Was it Maine?
Was that the one? Was it Maine? I cannot remember which state it was. We've been in so many other states that I really wasn't that worried about the states that we haven't been in. But I think it may be Hawaii and Maine, which are like, complete opposites, of the country. So that may be it. But again, we can help out your dealership. And again, if you're a car salesman, because here's the thing, when you're a car salesman, you're reliant on your company spending their advertising dollars the right way. Okay. So, again, if you're a car salesman, Brady, I don't know what your car dealership's doing, but I'll use him as an example. Brady says, doing good, man, trying to sell some vehicles. And that's exactly what car salesmen are trying to do. They need people to come to the lot. They need to make the deals. They need the customers to come to the lot so they can show them their great inventory. They can show them how they can make the deal for them. So if you're a car salesman and your dealership is not using us, you're making a mistake, because we can bring you customers. It's that simple. And we can bring you customers. And without the customers, you don't get the sales. So make sure you do that. Brady, by the way, actually said, I actually helped with events we did in Alaska, and I believe it was Hawaii and Maine. So see, there it is, that we had not done when he was working with us here at BMM or Billy Merritt Marketing. So again, good luck to Brady, and thanks for watching the podcast, Brady, too. We wish you all the luck in the world, and we hope you make it big in the car business like we have. Hey, by the way, Smith, with any last words, any last tips, if you will, for the road trip survival tips? You got any?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, you kept talking about the lack of the napkins you were needing. Mm-hmm. This is what I do personally, just because I have terrible allergies. But man, I just throw a roll of toilet paper in the car. And I haven't been doing this, but it's something I would do on a road trip now, because my dad always has these like in his service truck, and they're so useful. But these, they're like heavy duty blue paper towels.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Those things come in handy, man.
Yeah, they do. Those are great. You can usually find them in the auto repair section, of like Walmart or whatever store. You can go to an auto parts store. They have them too. They're in a roll. And they are, man. Those are great to have.
Absolutely,
much better than a roll of toilet paper. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't believe you have a roll of toilet paper. No, I know why you have the roll of toilet paper, and we're not going to talk about it. So yeah, Smith carries a roll of toilet paper with him all the time for other reasons. So we'll just leave it at that. By the way, what's the that brings up another? I'm going to actually, it's a little bit funny, but what's the age that it's still okay to pull a car over so that you can pee on the side of the road? Because like little kids, people like, oh, it's a little kid. They had no choice. He had to go like right now. So people don't really make a big deal about it if it's a little kid. So what's the age where it's not appropriate to pee on the side of the road?
That's a difficult one.
Depends on where you're at too, isn't it?
Yeah. My gut's saying like 16, but I feel like maybe I'm overshooting there.
I think that's too old.
Yeah, I think.
Now we're talking about acceptance from other drivers.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So like, all right. So for example, you're driving along, you're on a freeway. All right. So if you're driving along, you're on a freeway, and there is a 16-year-old who is standing there peeing on, that's okay with you. You're good with that.
Now that you put it that way.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, is it 10? Is it 8? Is it 6? I don't know.
I know.
And Robert Brooker has the solution. No matter what age, that's what the empty bottles come in handy for. That's a good call, Robert. I won't say that I made my grandchildren do that, but I will say I have done that in my life. Have you ever had to do that? or chose to do that?
I don't think I've ever. Well, I think I have once. I'm trying to remember where we were at. It was on some vacation we were on, but usually we would just wait until we were like right beside a field in the middle of nowhere and try to go behind some bushes if we could find them.
By the way, I should have clarified because Smith always carries toilet paper. The empty bottles are for number 1.
Please. Oh. The other one sounds a little dangerous. I get the feeling that could be bad.
Now, the other thing that when I got home, and so like I said, I had the beer of the week, Spencer's Monk's Reserve Ale, really good stuff. Try that out. When I got home, so I had about half of it. I drank about half of it, and I'm just kind of chilling. I was relaxing, like, okay, I was kind of glancing at the pictures. I didn't really look at them until this morning. I posted them this morning, but I was kind of glancing at the pictures. And in all seriousness, you look back and you're just like, if you feel, blessed that you're able to do things. And I mean, now that COVID is, I know it's not gone entirely, but a lot of the countries opened up, so you're able to go do things. So it really just kind of made me feel grateful, that I was able to do stuff like that. And I started thinking about when I was a kid, when we would do road trips with my parents. And I know, again, you're much, much, much younger than me. So you probably didn't do this, Smith, because it was probably against the law by the time you got, to be brought into this world. But we used to call it the back window. In the back window of a vehicle, we would call it the tray. I don't know if you ever if you've ever referred that. It's the back window tray. In other words, is that like that small little, you're saying dash. The dash is usually the front, and then the back we would always call it the back window tray. Okay. Shelf, whatever you want to call it, dude. When I was little, I remember sleeping up there. Yeah, like we're not talking about we're not talking no seatbelts. We're talking about no seatbelts, sleeping in a window.
Kind of hard to imagine you'd fit up there, but
yeah. And then when we're talking about melting the chocolate chips, imagine a white boy like me sleeping in the window in the direct sunlight. That's just problematic. Plenty of sunburns on our way to I had some my dad's family was in Kentucky, and that was our big and I use this word very loosely. That was our vacation every summer when we went to Kentucky to see our cousins and our aunts and uncles who had an outhouse. Yeah, what a great vacation. That's for a whole nother show, boys and girls. That's for a whole nother show.
Though, I do remember a time when it was still normal to just like stand up in the back of a moving truck.
So. Yeah. I mean, I remember that all the time. It was, people do that, just some of the craziness. And I know like some of the people now, they'll say, oh, the kids now, the kids nowadays, they're soft. Oh, we did this. We survived. Well, not everybody survived. There were a few that lost their lives, lost their limbs, lost their minds, including some of the parents. But we actually did some of our road trips. My sister Barb, she said, oh, come on. This is Barb, not Kenzie. Severe road trip challenges with Paul as a kid. Yeah, Barb had to put up with me. I was a brat. I know I was. I was spoiled. I was the youngest. All older sisters. So I was the youngest. But I'm going to close the show. You ready? Ready to close the show, Sean?
Ready.
Smith, you ready?
Got my finger on the trigger.
All 3 of my sisters. You guys know I was the favorite. I was. Mom even said it. When I was home in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, Mom admitted it finally. After 54 years, my mom admitted that I was the favorite. So there you go. Hey, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching the show. Feel Good Friday. It comes your way again, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on Fridays, right here on Facebook. Thanks again to Smith for being my partner in crime today and producing the show. And thanks to everybody for watching. Have a great weekend. Remember, if you're going to be drinking, make sure that you're not driving. Make sure that you're being safe out there. And my sister Barb just did Baha. Ha ha ha. And that was funny stuff. So have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Take